The adaptation of all our new SOPs is not without, obviously, the assistance of technology. And technology will play a large part as we go forward in the current time. So, incorporation of technology in terms of pre-arrival formalities, making sure that all the pre-arrival formalities are complete. Upon arrival, again, use of technology to make sure that guests do not have to actually get into a lot of contact with the staff which is there to receive them at the hotel. And then, of course, onward to the room where use of technology again will plays a large part in the new SOPs. Is in essence what will constitute the arrival process. During the stay, again, we may say touchless, but at the end of the day, we are Indian Hotels Company Limited. We are known to be a brand which has a lot of warmth. So touchless it will be, but not without heart. And technology it will be, but not without tradition. So those are the things that we continue to focus on. And even in terms of whether servicing of the rooms or service in restaurants, use of technology will continue to play an important part with QR coded menus, with making sure that only one individual at a time services the requirements of the guests so that contact is minimal but not absent. And at the end of the day, the warmth does need to come through in everything that we do. And that's the aspect of Tajness that we continue to focus on. When we design any SOP, that is the one consideration that underlines the SOP itself, that is the aspect of our business that we should not lose. So that is the care that we are taking, in other words. All spoken about how we will undertake hygiene measures and so on and so forth, and create an environment where chefs are either in residence throughout the period of the pandemic to assure quality. But let's look at it from the point of view of what is now, what is probably going to be the next. In the immediate term, we believe that restaurants and outlets which are able to create an element of trust in the mind of the customers are the ones that are going to be eventually the winners. Because at the end of the day, all of us as an industry, we are in the perfect storm. We are in a storm. We are just in different boats. It just so happens that some of us organizationally may be in a boat which is closer to the shore. So what is likely to happen is that institutions which can create trust for food and beverage are the ones which are most likely going to survive and thrive in the future. And that trust is obviously based on multiple factors. It's based on one's own heritage, one's own ability to go out into the market and evoke that element of safety and assurance and create that assurance and put that out on the market. That is of paramount importance. And then also the fact that at the end of the day, everything is not just about standard operating procedures, because one can adopt standard operating procedures, but how do that procedures create trust, and how does that trust translate into business is a multifaceted aspect in itself. So if I were to look at it, it's a multifaceted aspect because it depends on the kind of connect you've had with your guests in the past. It's the kind of connect that your guests have had with you as an operator in the current, which means have you bothered to be connected, be in communication with your guests, even though you may or may not have been operating. The second is the aspect of agility. Have you been agile enough to be able to remain connected through your food and beverage to your key clientele? If they have not been able to come to your restaurants, have you been able to take your restaurants out? And that is where we, if I were to give you a key example, IHCL took its restaurants out. Our key brands like Golden Dragon or Hypervillian or the Souk, they've all been taken out by way of our own created platform called Qmin. So we are not going to rely on outside delivery partners to be able to do that, but we did that because the assurance of quality and creation of trust at this point in time is of ultimate paramount importance. And when you hand this over to a partner or you hand this over to a third party, there is that doubt of
Sure.
quality assurance and SOP adherence that comes to your mind. So in the next, this is what is going to happen, is that brands which are able to be agile, which are able to take their food and beverage out rather than expect guests to come in, will also be the first to be able to attract your guests back. Yeah, so buffets in the immediate term are obviously going to be a no-no. There is the entire service aspect and the service design has to be tweaked to the aspect of either pre-plated, to be very specific to your answer, or it'll have to be a situation where guests will be served across counters with physical distancing, but by people who are assured, who are tested, who are in residence, and who are then able to deliver the quality and the assurance that the customer may be expecting. But the aspect of buffets in the short term, I think the entire panel will probably agree with me, is in the short term out of the window. This may come back in the medium term, but in the near term, it will all be pre-plated. It will all be service across counters with physical distancing, and in some cases, where it is important, even pre-packed and takeaways,
Sure.
which will become the immediate reality.
You.
Okay, so let's see what we've done as an example in some of our iconic outlets as a preparation is obviously firstly there's physical and social distancing, so the seating has been reduced, right? Secondly is the aspect of how do you deliver the same quality and the same kind of experience in terms of taste and in terms of the umami that the guest expects from the brand.
Sure.
There, as I think Zubin mentioned, uh, we have pre-tested in residence food production and service people residing in the hotel. So the third is the aspect of assurance of quality of ingredients. That is taken care of with careful procurement and careful production. And then is the aspect of service. If the people who are serving in the hotels um, are assured in terms of the fact that their aspect of testing has been taken care of and the aspect of continuing to reside in the hotel is taken care of, then that service delivery happens at the same or even at an enhanced level. There's no reason why the experience cannot be enhanced, because at the end of the day, the seating is reduced. The attention towards the guest can definitely and should definitely increase, and therefore the experience should even perhaps be better now than before. Yeah, but I don't think it has been any different in the past. So from the past to the new normal, I think general managers of the future only need to be very conscious of the reality that the risks in decision making that they take cannot result in violation of safety and violation of health concerns towards our key reason for existence, which is our customers. So uh, empowerment cannot and should not in our industry keep that out of the focus at any point in time in the name of risk-taking ability. That's my view on this. I have a view on that. Sorry, is that, and I was alluding to that when we spoke to when Biswajit posed that question. In the short term, in the near term, and in the pre-vaccine era, it's going to be very difficult for individual restaurateurs to be able to so-called lure-back guests. We've seen that. I mean, a couple of my favorite restaurants like Le Caprice and Poland Street Social in London have shut down primarily because a lot of these businesses operated on a triage of property, investment, brand valuation, rollout, so on and so forth, right? So it's very difficult for them to survive when their underlying costs are huge, and the premise of making a business successful is brands and valuation in the current era. On the other hand, restaurants which are based on reputation, trust, delivery, heritage, lineage, and assurance of quality, in-house quality, will find it far more easier to survive this current period and continue to survive. So very, very difficult in the short term, in a nutshell, to say that individual restaurants will lure guests away. I think this is a perfect opportunity. I don't want to sound opportunistic, but I think this is an opportunity where the hotel industry as a whole can collectively come back and get the guests back into our restaurants, which have always served quality cuisine in a quality environment.